Before I begin, you might notice I'm using the belt and suspenders method of audio recording here with a DJI Mic 2, no, it's a Mic Mini, whatever, as well as a desktop mic recording to my Mac Studio. This is because I've been stalled for weeks with audio problems, and I'm very bored of shooting this video over and over. I have some kind of intermittent audio issue with my desktop mic here that seems to know when I'm recording and only starts to suck when I'm recording. This time I'll use the DJI audio in case the desktop mic messes up again, so I can at least start working through my backlog of videos. Anyway, on to today's video. You should probably have a dash camera. I certainly feel that it's a requirement here in Memphis, and the cost of entry has gotten very low. I was actually sent this particular dash camera, the Torvo TD3, for free to review, and to be totally honest, I assumed it wasn't going to be particularly good, based primarily on the fact that they were willing to send me one for free. But I've been using this dash cam in my Honda Fit for a few months now, and I have to say, it's pretty good. It pretty much checks all the boxes, and it's a really good value. First, I need to get this out of the way. I cannot say the name of this dash cam without thinking of the guy from Manos, Hands of Fate, named Torgo. If you haven't seen that movie, you should immediately watch it because it's terrible and you will enjoy it. The Torvo dash cam, thankfully, is not terrible. It's a 2-channel dash cam that shoots front-facing video at 4K and rear-facing video at 2K. It has built-in GPS so it can display your GPS speed, and it has built-in Wi-Fi so you can easily access the videos from the camera on your phone. The physical design is basically just box, but that's totally fine with me. It's a reasonably small and lightweight box that is easy to stick to your windshield. It comes with a 12-volt power adapter, which is one of the only things I don't love about this camera. Most other dash cameras have at least one USB outlet on the back of their 12-volt adapter, so you can plug in your phone or whatever else you might want, but this one does not. That means that if you only have one DC power outlet in your car and you plug this dash cam into it, you can't plug in anything else, which I imagine is a problem for most people. Luckily, this is a pretty easy problem to solve. The dash camera will work with any other USB-A to USB-C cable, so you can just use a different car charger in any cable you like. I'm using this U-Green charger in the Fit, and it has 3 Type-C power outlets and a single Type-A, so I can charge all the things. You might notice I said you need a USB-A to USB-C cable, and that's because this camera, like many other cheap electronics, does not implement the full USB-C standard, and thus will not work with USB-C to USB-C cables, something that annoys me greatly, but honestly isn't totally unexpected at this price point. Mildly annoying power supply aside, installation is otherwise easy. Both the front and rear cameras come with sticky mounts to stick to your windshield and back glass, and pretty much the only other thing you need to do is pop in the included SD card and find a way to route the rear camera's cable to the rear of the car. This is highly dependent on what kind of car you drive, so I won't bother covering it here. Figure it out yourself. This camera doesn't use a bespoke app, but rather uses the Vidure app, which seems to be kind of a generic Wi-Fi camera app. It works really well for downloading footage, but it doesn't seem to have a lot in the way of options. I can't find a way to set the camera timestamp in the app, for example. If this was something I needed to do really frequently, I would be very annoyed. But it's not, so I don't care. I can deal with pressing the buttons on the camera twice a year to set the time during daylight savings. I'm going to ramble for a bit here about a few things, so I'll just start showing you tons of footage from both the front and rear cameras. Like I said before, the front camera shoots in 4K. Daytime image quality is really pretty good. 4K is enough resolution to pull out a decent amount of detail, and the field of view is sufficiently wide to capture cross traffic and stuff like that. The rear camera shoots at 2K and also looks pretty good. You can tell the difference in sharpness between the 4K front camera and the 2K rear camera, but it's not a big deal. Both look fine. The frame rate seems to be 25 frames per second, and I don't see any way to change that, but that's also fine with me. I don't really think high frame rates matter much in dash cameras, which I'll go into more in a minute, and the relatively low frame rate should improve low light quality. I've always thought that trying to capture oncoming license plates with a dash camera is a waste of time in almost every scenario. Dashcam companies have tried to make this a thing, but if you know anything about photography or videography, you can kind of see why it doesn't make sense. Their attempts at getting clear license plate images usually come down to resolution and frame rate. I get the idea. More resolution means more detail, and more frames means more chances to catch a clear frame of the plate. But the problem is actually focal length. Having a camera lens that's very wide angle in order to capture a wide field of view is the exact thing that makes it hard to capture any detail if the object you're trying to capture is more than a few feet away. There's a new Viofo dashcam that comes with a second front-facing camera that's quote-unquote 4x optical zoom. That's the only way I see anyone being able to reliably get plates. All of that is to say that I don't think really any other dashcam reliably captures license plates in fast-moving traffic. It's kind of luck of the draw as to whether the car is close enough to capture the license plate and oriented correctly so that you actually get a clear shot of it and you can see it. And Tennessee doesn't even have front license plates anyway. I think the much more beneficial use case of a dash cam is proving fault, or hopefully lack of fault, on your part. If someone rear-ends you and you have a rear-facing camera, you can prove that you were sitting still and they crashed into you. If someone runs a red light and crashes into you, you can prove that you went into the intersection when the light was green. Same thing for a stop sign. What I'm getting at is, unless you're a huge camera nerd, this dash cam is very likely all you really need. It covers both angles, front and rear. The footage is clear and detailed, and so far it's been 100% reliable. Low light footage is predictably pretty noisy, but I have to keep reminding myself that the point of this camera is not to shoot cinematic video. It's supposed to be utility video that does its best to give you a usable image so you can prove, for example, you were driving down the road normally and someone pulled out of a driveway in front of you, and this camera totally fulfills that niche. Oh, and by the way, my windshield seems to have astigmatism. That's not the camera. I considered cleaning my windshield and reshooting the night video samples, but I remembered that, number one, I'm old and have a kid in elementary school and wake up at 6 a.m. every day, so I don't actually do a lot of night driving, and waiting for it to get dark again sounded very annoying. And number two, this is probably a good indication of how the video is likely to look in your car unless you obsessively clean every square inch of your windshield inside and out every other day or so. Basically, most people's windshield is likely to be a little bit imperfect, and it's nice to see that the camera still captures usable footage even with a normal person level of dirt and streaks on the glass. Like I said, the low light footage isn't going to rival the S1 II in terms of dynamic range or anything, but you could still very easily tell that you had the green light if someone ran a light and hit you, and that's what really matters. Basically, it's good enough. I think this tier of dash cam is really what most people actually need, and only huge nerds might want to spend more money for fancier stuff. Also, since I've never heard of this brand, I intentionally waited a very long time before I made this review to make sure I wasn't going to make a video telling everyone that this is a good dash cam and then it dies in a week. It's been over 4 months since I got it, and it has recorded every time the key is turned on, every time, for the entire 4 months. That of course doesn't mean it won't die as soon as I publish this, but it's at least an encouraging sign. At the time of this video, the Torvo TD3 is $90 for the 2-channel dashcam, including a 64 gigabyte micro SD card. That's honestly going to be pretty hard to beat for most people. Can you spend 2 or 3 times as much money on a dashcam that will give you nominally better image quality in some situations? Yes. But will you ever look at that footage for any reason other than to prove you didn't run a red light or some other situation where a slight edge in image quality probably makes zero difference? Probably not. In my experience, even as a huge nerd, I obsessively look at the footage from my dashcam for like a week or maybe 10 days after I get it. Then I totally forget it exists until something happens. In short, this is probably good enough for almost everyone, and it's certainly better than no dashcam at all. That's about it for the Torvo TD3 Dashcam. I do actually have a ton of other videos in the works about actual camera stuff. I'm actually shooting this video on my S9 with the SG Image 35 f2.2, and I have some cool vintage glass and all kinds of stuff to talk about soon, so hopefully my audio issues are solved. See you next time.